One, going to be going over chapter 3, which is the management of teams. So starting off with the main ideas, there are two types of groups, either formal or informal. Some examples of informal groups could be hanging out with your friends at a basketball game, and formal would be going to a business meeting. So there are stages to group management, group development, such as the forming stage, which is the formation of a group, the storming stage, which is the conflict that arises, either group members stay or go, norming, which establishes norms in the group, performing, which is the highest efficiency stage, where the synergy is at the highest, and the last stage where everyone parts ways, the adjourning stage. So another main idea is establishing and recognizing the barriers in teams, which could be due to poor performing members, overly controlling members, or poorly managed conflict. So the key to create a successful team is to celebrate success, to establish rituals, and create a fun environment.
Hello everyone, we're going to talk about Chapter 4, Small Group Communications Across Cultures. We're going to talk about the following terms: individualistic and collectivistic. Individualistic is an independent culture that goes and follows their own needs and their dreams, while collectivistic, they value the group and they want to help their group, while the individualistic is more selfish and they just want to do things on their own. High context culture pays attention to every detail, so they catch on the body language, the nonverbal and verbal communication, while low context is very straightforward. It focuses on the little details and they understand it. Low power distance culture focuses more on earned power, while high distant culture value positional power. Masculinity culture, it focuses on material success and ambition, and while feminine's into the nurturing and empathetic towards others. Low uncertainty avoidance is actually okay taking more risks and they're open to change, while the opposite, high uncertainty avoidance, takes fewer risks and they follow a set of laws and principles. Long-term orientation focuses on the future, while short-term orientation focuses on the past and use it for the now. Indulgence follows their desires and encourages their members to enjoy life, while restraint cultures do not allow their members to enjoy their life. They want them to handle their responsibility and follow a set of rules, and all that in Chapter 4 was discussed, and I hope everyone understood the lecture.
Hi guys, so I'm going to be talking about Chapter 5, which is verbal communication. Verbal communication is the use of words and sounds in order to express ourselves. There is also nonverbal communication, which refers to communication that uses anything else but sounds to communicate, such as body language, gestures, and silence. Both can be written and spoken communication. There's also a system of symbols. There are 3 types of symbols in communications, which is arbitrary, which are the symbols that we use and have no direct relationship to objects or ideas they represent. There's ambiguous, which are the symbols that have several meanings, and then there's abstracts, which are the words that are not material or physical. There's also rules governing communication, which is agreed upon rules to make sense of the symbols we share. There are 4 rules in verbal communication. There's phonology, which is the study of sound. There's semantic rules, which help us understand the difference between 2 words. Semnatics, which is the study of language structure and symbolic arrangement. And then there's pragmatics, which is the study of how people actually use verbal communication. Again, it is only through an agreed upon and ruled governed system of symbols that we exchange verbal communication in effective manner. Without agreement, rules, and symbols, verbal communication would not work. The reality is, after we started going to school, we don't spend much time consciously thinking about all of these rules. We simply use them. So again, rules keep our verbal communication structured in ways that make it useful to communicate more effectively. Without these rules, we would all be confused in what we're trying to say.
Hello everyone, I'll be going over Chapter 8, Problem Solving Standard Agenda. I'll be going over the following: group problem solving process, decision-making in groups, and the influences on decision-making. Group problem solving is solving problems that involves thoughts, discussions, actions, and decisions in order to reach the goal of the problem. Group problem solving is encouraged as groups tend to evaluate diverse solutions and action plans. The group problem-solving process is: Step 1, define the problem. Step 2, analyze the problem. Step 3, generate the possible solutions. Step 4, evaluate your solutions. And Step 5, implement and assess the solution. Decision-making in groups. When you are making a decision in groups, you may face challenges that you may not face in your personal decision-making, but you do benefit from some advantages of the group decision-making. The influences on decision-making, the factors influencing decision-making are personality, culture, context, information available, and a level of education. These factors should be kept in mind whenever a person is taking any decision, as some of them can be controlled, but not all, like personality or culture. So that is all for chapter 8.
My chapter is chapter 9, and it's called Managing Conflict Within Teams. Conflict is a common thing amongst groups, but it is also a way to develop discourse amongst the group. We all have different ideas and we all have different opinions, and it is okay to agree to disagree because it allows you to understand other people's point of view. It is important to promote positive effects amongst the group and try to avoid the negative. For example, you want your group to minimize the differences amongst each other and reach a common goal that will benefit all. It is important to generate constructive conflict as this will encourage others to speak up. You can control the disagreements by setting certain guidelines or certain rules that could be followed within the group. For example, you might ask people to raise their hand in order to speak up, or you might want others, to not interrupt while other people are speaking. So there are many other techniques like the yielding approach, which some team members will just give in. This is usually used when the problem isn't too big of a problem. It is beneficial to those managing the groups to coordinate the meetings well and have some form of structure in order to, sort of control the group and, have some sort of like structure within the group. Have a set agenda and be on time, perhaps be ready before the meeting and give yourself a few minutes to sort of set up and just have yourself, go prepared so you have things ready in order to have this conversation with your group. And, allow for small talk within the group. This will allow, to have a comfortable setting amongst the group, and then allow your group to defer and to decide on some issues, as this will give them some sense of ownership. So yeah, those are some of the things that are discussed within chapter 9.